Yo, you want to talk about this song and how it's ass? Am I a hater? Am I a hater? I don't think I'm a hater. I think I'm very objective. The song's great. This feature is terrible. Like one of the worst things I've ever listened to. You guys think it's good? Yeah, it sucks. All right, most people think it's bad. I don't know what this is, but this is the autoplay after it, and I'm here for it. Jacksonia, thank you for the gift. Coco Bum, 7 months. Shinsuke, 7 months as well. Appreciate you guys. Let's uh let's play Pitbull's new album. It's not even new anymore, but I feel like that's the vibes we need today. See if I can find it. Thank you, chicken taco salad. I appreciate you. Kenny was recruited from the local Dunkin' Donuts. Did you guys see Jake's tweet? Jake O'Kane, friend of the stream. Honestly, he's the authority on things like this. Anytime Kenny talks about leaving the game, a Dunkin' in the greater Boston area falls. He's right. Chief K, thank you for the prime. Not good. Shaming Ben Affleck's name. Okay. To everyone who was like, yo, the BB25 cast was so bad, we would wipe the fucking floor with Big Brother 26. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We missed BB25 just for a bit. And look, I truly like. I used to think I want BB26 to be terrible, so people appreciate BB25 more. Now that I'm so invested in BB26, I do want it to get good. But at this point in Big Brother 25, we were going to be a top 5 season. And it ended terribly. We all agree on that. And maybe BB26 picks it up in the second half. But so far, it's not a competition. At all. Am I right? Thank you, Taylor, for the prime. Keybearer44 for the gift. I appreciate it. Gifting woke Gucci. Your pre-jury was legendary television. Well, again, our pre-jury was 72 days. So maybe not the whole thing, but a lot of the pre-jury. For sure. And even the early, even the last weeks of pre-jury were still pretty good. It's just brutal when you have a house where so many people want to be pawns or targets. It's brutal. Yeah, Angela and Kenny. That's why I'm hoping Angela goes this week. I'm really hoping Angela goes or Kenny. It's just like we got to get this thing going. It feels like this season has such a big buffer of people that we need to get through before the real game can start. Thank you, JPR, for the gift as always. How are you doing? I appreciate it. Who'd you gift? Let's shout him out to Emmy JH. Welcome. Kenny has to go. He wanted to quit like 5 times. That means he wanted to quit 105 times, and they're just blocking out the other ones. I'm really glad I took a break when I did. Or not really took a break, but I left town when I did. Because I did not want to be streaming during this Quinn Angela stuff. It was really ridiculous to watch. I was like, I'm so like I feel like it's blown over now, and I'm glad, but that's brutal. It was messy. It was just ridiculous. And look, here's the thing. The main takeaway I have from the whole situation is, why are we giving so much fucking credence to the edited show now? like like now is the moment that we've decided, you know what, CBS has us. And the most brain dead take, because if your takeaway is Quinn is taking advantage of racism to, I don't necessarily agree, but I'm not gonna lampoon you for it. I get it. Right? Like, I think that's a reasonable takeaway, especially from the TV show. There's a lot left to interpretation. If that's how you want to interpret it, that's fair. What pisses me off is the people who are like, you see, this is why CBS is taking away the live feeds. Because if people are reacting like this, it's like, no, you got it backwards. This is the reason why the live feeds need to exist, so we can have actual outrage instead of predicted outrage or predictive outrage. It's so annoying. Like, it's so frustrating. Petty, thanks for gifting. Lila loves you. Lila, you're not subbed? That's crazy. If you guys see any Cory TikToks, those are from Lila, so shoutouts. They were looking for that exact reaction. They curated it. Y'all, I can't express enough how much Big Brother wants no outrage or reaction like this at all. You know what I mean? They want nothing to happen. I think it flew right over their head that this is the reaction Quinn would get. Big Brother wants to protect everybody. And that's not because they care about the players so much. It's because they care about themselves, and they don't want to have a TMZ article written about how Big Brother's racist, you know? Well, they cooked Angela. I thought they had a really charitable, like a really charitable edit for Angela. Because ultimately, if you think these things were motivated by race, Quinn's actions, Angela's act, which, again, is a very fair perspective to have, Angela's the one who actually did it. And it felt like everyone walked away from this episode mad at Quinn and being like, actually, Angela's chill. Like, they could have thrown Angela under the bus, and they didn't. Thank you, Melfna, for the Prime. Mommy Danan for this tier 1 sub. I appreciate you. By concealing it, they made avid feed watchers have to speculate and draw conclusions when we don't know the full story, just a curated story. So here's what I will say. Like, you don't need to draw conclusions and speculate. Like, here's my instincts, okay? And those are just that. Based on everything I've seen from Quinn on the feeds and how he interacts with all the other house guests, I think it's hard to have the takeaway that Quinn is a bad actor trying to use race as a device to further his game. I think it's a hard takeaway to have. Again, like, the beauty of the live feeds, even if they're edited the way they are, is we get a pretty good sense of who people are. And if someone does something problematic, which, again, we could ask Quinn the deal with that DR, and maybe it was problematic, in which case, bad, Quinn. Like, seriously, that's not good. But, like, we have a big enough sample size where we can make somewhat reasonable determinations on people. Like, everyone loved Matt from our season for the first few weeks, and then as the season gone on, people realize, oh, he's a jackass. So, like, people want to rush to conclusions. Like, that's fine. I get it. It's a reactive community. But, like, I feel like we have a lot of data. Not to say, like, again, I feel like I had a reputation in the house of holding people accountable when necessary, calling people out when I could. I'm not perfect. I think I've made certain mistakes in the house that I hope I've owned up to, and if I haven't, I would love to do that in the future once I'm made aware of it. So, like, there's two things. There's individual actions which you can hold people accountable for, and then there's the bigger picture. I don't know. I'm kind of talking in circles, but I think you guys get the gist. Quinn as a fan should know. Honestly, that's kind of my takeaway, Sarah. So Sarah said Quinn as a fan should know better than to go into the DR and brag about how that played out. So I would hope it was a case of things being out of order. I think I would have more awareness in the house of. It was certainly something that was always in my mind of how is this going to come off? Can this be edited in a certain way? Like, I was definitely had my radar up, and I try to do that outside of the house too. Just be very cognizant to make sure I'm not, letting these things go over my head. So that's a fair criticism, but again, it feels like if that's what happened and production edited things out of order, it feels weird to blame Quinn for that. If it was not out of order and Quinn was doing that, well, then there's no reason to complain to production. They just told the true story, but we'll never know because the feeds don't exist, so. He's not thinking about the edit like that. I'm certain nobody in the house is, but I was, and I think that makes sense based on you guys seeing me on the show. Like, I was always doing that. And here's what I'll say, like, I have no loyalty to any house guest in the house right now. I don't know any of them. Obviously, Quinn is like he's seems to be involved in this community somewhat, right? Like he's like typing in the Twitch chat and everything. I'm rooting for Quinn. I'm pulling for Quinn. But like, if someone does some stupid shit, I'm not gonna like die on my sword for them. I have no reason to. Like all that to say, like I think there's a lot of like all these white nerds exploiting race to further their games. It's like, what a bizarre takeaway to have. It feels like there's a weird amount of animosity towards superfans from superfans of the show. And it's just odd. I can't really put my finger on why it happens. Thank you, Cubs fans, for the 10 subs. I appreciate you. Sorry if that's like so muted. AZ Cubs, that's a huge amount of gifted subs. I do really appreciate it. But I feel weird being like very serious. AZ Cubs fan! but I really do appreciate it. How are you doing? Thanks, man. And I guess like I was feeling just a kind of way about it because obviously while me and Quinn are very different people, we are in the same archetype, and I'm just imagining like I'm someone who after the show went back and read all these comments about myself, and a lot of them hurt a lot. They were very, it weighs on you, and nothing in my season had half the weight of the stuff Quinn's going to read coming out of the house. Now, I want to be very clear about this. If this is taken out of context, whatever, there's a possibility that Quinn did some stupid shit. You know what I mean? And this was not edited out of context, and he deserves to be held accountable. 100%. 1,000,000%. You know what I mean? But if the other side is true, that's fucking brutal. My entire takeaway from this entire situation is like, can we just be consistent about how we talk about the feeds versus the live show? Because they tell a different story, and it frustrates me when it feels like the entire community agrees that the live show is bullshit. Because based on the live show, Matt is a great person, and I'm borderline ableist. Cameron is a golden boy. You know what I mean? For my season, of course, Cameron. And Matt for my season. So, it is just very frustrating. Like, I feel like we are the people who are supposed to be able to see through this kind of thing. But it's hard when the feeds are totally cut, so I do get people drawing conclusions. I get it. Very worried Quinn's going to be put up as America's nom. I don't think so. I feel like casuals would like Quinn a lot. He's very animated in the DR. He's had a huge presence on the show. You're not on camera. Sorry. Casuals wouldn't vote Quinn? I don't think so. I think right now, who do you think would be up for America's veto?
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, with Angela on there.
Angela's the one person who would be obviously the choice.
Rubina, she's got 0 screen time.
Yeah.
I don't think they dislike anybody else.
I could see,
Quinn.
Angela's going to be on the block anyways, y'all.
Yeah, so.
I think Quinn, casuals would like Quinn. Joseph is another one, maybe? Joseph or Rubina, maybe.
I don't know. I'm not on Facebook.
I tell you, it would be Mackenzie, or Kenny, or Angela, but none of them are going to be eligible. It would not be Kenny.
They love Kenny.
Yeah. Quinn isn't liked by Facebook in the same way Izzy wasn't liked, probably, right? Gotta be Cam. Cam's a possibility. I wonder if he's too inoffensive, though. Joseph near the bottom of polls. I can see that. Brooklyn. No, they're not going to vote for the attractive, like, white woman. I think she's white, right? That's not how that works. Like, she's black. I don't think so. Way Outback, you've been kind of popping off in the chat for a while. I might get rid of you. She's 1/4 black. Oh, I apologize. Is she really? I didn't know that. I thought she was either white or had some Hispanic background or Latinx background. Native black and white. Interesting. She says it in her intro package, I think. I didn't watch we were in the like bar watch party for the premiere, so I didn't really get to see the intro packages. Facebook loves Quinn. He's second after Kenny. I'm hearing conflicting reports about the casuals' feelings on Quinn. You need to start training for your battle with Cedric at finale night. Should we check that out right now? Check out that clip. Someone have the clip. Someone post it. Happy birthday, Sage. You have a grandson Cubs fan? That's so cool. Happy birthday, Sage. America replied to it. I'm trying to find it. I guess it'd be in replies. I'm looking at her posts. All right, I got it. Don't worry about it.
America was bad too. I ain't gonna lie. America was very bad. Oh, America. My fault, Cory.
America was bad. She was bad. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, Cory. Is that Quinn having my back? Taekwondo. Bow staff.
My fault, but she was bad.
Did you have to say it the third time? He apologized to you. Y'all, no one needs permission or needs to apologize for calling America attractive. You know what? You do need permission when you're as attractive as Cedric, though. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. When you look like a model, you're not allowed to say it. Any Twitch chatters? Hey, go for it. Kenny just called Rabina Smurfette. I kind of like that. I can't put my finger on it. Am I Team Kenny now? Is anyone secretly finding Cat Dunn to be the GOAT Twitter account this season? The random Kenny Stan account is so funny. It's a crazy take. I kind of love it. I think it's really funny. Pin blocked. All right. No one's a fan. It's just me. It's because she knows him. Yeah. Did you see her comments about Quinn? Look, I'm being very selective in what I'm praising. Her preseason T was Kenny. Yeah, that's crazy. You want to talk about Kenny for a second? Kenny is frustrating as a player because, like, he clearly. Here's what I used to think. I used to think he's in a terrible position. He is not going how he planned, so he wants to leave because he knows he can't win and it's a waste of his time. And that makes some sense to me. And I was kind of frustrated because I'm like, well, Kenny, you could be in an okay position. Like, people are talking about pulling you into things, but they've decided they simply cannot because you're so unreliable because you keep trying to quit the game. But now I'm starting to realize he doesn't want to do well in the game. I thought if he was pulled into an alliance, he'd be like, wait, there's hope. Maybe I could do something. But now I'm like, oh, he literally just wants to leave the Big Brother house. And it's so, like, annoying when players... Like, it's fine to have Derek as your favorite player. It's a very common thing, especially when you're, like, a casual like Kenny is. He's a cop, obviously. But, like, wanting to play the exact same game, it's like, I have my favorites, for sure. But play your own game. He wants to make the Hitman. He wants to have literally all the guys group up again. It's like, shit, it's just so boring. How did he get cast? You know exactly how he got cast. He said, I'm an undercover cop. And they signed him up. I'm an undercover cop, but I'm not going to tell anybody. And that was it. Y'all have to understand, some people's casting journeys are very different than others.
Literally, fuck off.
Thank you, Rune, for the 5 gifted. I haven't seen you in a minute. It's 155 total. You're nuts. I appreciate you. He's retired? Yeah. But it doesn't make a difference. It's still
Literally,
the same.
fuck off.
Until he tells Cedric, yeah. But, like, okay, obviously this is all speculation, but I can't imagine Matt Klotz's interview process was the same as, like, mine.
Literally, fuck off.
It was the same in terms of he had to do the same interviews, right? But I think, like, his performance in those interviews was probably less critical. Does that make sense?
Literally, fuck off.
It's a little bit hard to describe, but I feel like some people are cast more on archetype, whereas others, like, when there's a lot of people probably competing for that same archetype, it comes down to substance. And it sounds very elitist, and, like, I'm saying I'm not better than anyone. It's not about that, right? The reason Matt got cast is because he's a fucking deaf Olympian. Like, he has a lot of very impressive qualities that make him deserving of being cast, putting aside the stuff that the reason why he should never be cast. But, like, I feel like Kenny was an undercover cop who was a fan of Big Brother, applied, said he wanted to be like Derek, and it's very simple. Kenny wanted to quit because the women were in control for 2 weeks. I mean, it's definitely an assumption, but based on his actions, I don't think it's an unreasonable assumption. Like, I don't think it was really that necessarily, but I think his plan was come into the house, work with all the guys. He had a very linear path to winning the game. It didn't happen. Now he's annoyed. Will do, Gimp. Gimp. Kenny doesn't want to play unless he's winning. I swear, like, the veto last week made him happy for, like, 6 hours, and then he was back to wanting to quit. The fact he doesn't want to work with women, yeah, that's more of the telltale sign. Kenny wants to vote out the sensitive people. That is very funny in retrospect. And y'all, I know you guys are like, oh, damn, I wish they just took Kenny out of the house. Like, and then what? And then we get Zombie Week again? I did see the handshake. The handshake was crazy. America showed it to me. I was like, what the fuck? Like, if he quits, like, you know, like, whatever. It's just aggravating when, like, we have so many people volunteering for the block. It's just boring to watch. And, like, I really thought this week would be when the game started, because it would be, like, a Quinn, Chemo, Joseph, like anyone, really, who won HoH. I mean, the problem is I think most people would make these same noms, because when you have people, Kenny wants a stipend, at this point, the stipend's $3,000. I don't believe that's what Kenny wants. It's, like, it's not... It's like $3,000 is no joke, but it's not Survivor, where you like lose your reunion stipend and stuff. Like, it's $3,000. It's Cedric's fault because he's so averse to getting any blood in his hands. Sydney, I think Cedric made the exact right move. Let's go to the press conference. Let's do it. I think it's not Cedric's fault. I think Cedric made the correct nominations. Like, what else is he supposed to do? Should Angela be his target? Not necessarily, but he's also not in the most jeopardized position. Like, if it was Cam, I'd be a little bit more critical of Cam needs to make a move. Why not flush MJ's power? I mean, Jerry, you know the answer to that. The reason you don't put Mackenzie up is because Mackenzie's going to use the veto and then be eligible to win HoH the next week. Like, there's no I don't believe there's any reason to flush the power when the power is going to expire next week anyways. Like, she has one more week after this to use it. Why create a game-long enemy when in reality you just got to survive for a week? Like, it's not even survive. Like, if MJ wins HoH now, she probably won't target Cedric. If Cedric makes a deal. Like, Cedric has all the leverage in the world to work with MJ, or at the very least make a deal. Tucker might have tried it. Yeah, because Tucker's a madman and a very bad player, but... Did she lie about the power? So I asked production in a sequester, because I was reading the manual, and there was, like, talking about the power. So I asked if I could lie about the powers, and they basically said no, because it would be production as a strategy. And I was like, okay. Do you think Quinn will use the power this week? It's confirmed he hasn't used it already, right? I'm pretty sure. So he's going to use it next week or not use it at all, which is crazy. She used the strategy of badly explaining her power. It's kind of genius. He should use it next week. I mean, I get that, but, like, Nicholas, like, what if Chemo wins? You know, what if Rabino wins? Like, there's no reason for him to take over their HoH. Like there's really no reason. Which is a very likely... There's like 4 or 5 people who win, and I don't think Quinn will take it over, which is funny, because, like, how do you not use this power? And I don't even blame Quinn. Like, I think if Quinn used the power and made a huge move, I think it would be really bad for him. I think he's in a good position, and it benefits him to just get rid of Angela. Get rid of Kenny. Like, those are the people Quinn needs out. Safety against Renom is a reason. Sure, but, like, if Rabino wins HoH, or if Chemo or T-Core wins, or, like... I think the most fun Quinn can do is winning HoH using it on himself, maybe, would be funny. Which was actually his plan originally, which we all said was stupid, because it was stupid. But maybe in that case, he could try to do something, but too many people know about the power, so it'd still be stupid. Quinn's in a good position to make Jury not win. One step at a time. How many people are in a better position than Quinn? Maybe Chemo and T-Core, maybe. Like, he's doing okay for now. I will say, like, on this cast, I think he's one of the 3 best players. Maybe, yeah, I mean, it's not a strong cast strategically at all. The best way to use it would be to tell his allies they can all throw the next HoH. I don't even think that's the right play, Thor, because too many people know, like, Tucker is leaking it. So, like, I really think it's just use it as a failsafe for a bad HoH. If a bad HoH outcome happens, then you take it over. Otherwise, just chill. And Joseph's way behind the time. Like, it's my top 3. I think right now it's got to be Chemo, T-Core, and Quinn. Then there's people like Brooklyn and Chelsea, who it's kind of like, I don't know. Cubs fan, what's up? Did you mean to send this to Sage and instead send it to me? I appreciate it. Thanks, Cubs. Thoughts on Chelsea's gameplay? I think Chelsea has a crush on Cam. I think that's my takeaway on that. And I said it on the live feed update, but it's starting to feel like actually real. Like, Chelsea's so hung up on this Cam Leah stuff that she can't focus on the actual game. And there's so much game happening around her. And people want to pull her into alliances, but She said so many times she does it. Exactly, yeah. Cam doesn't wash his crack. He does wash his crack, is what she said. Met you in America in December. Big fan. I think Clinton. Where do you see us in December? Were we in? Was it Texas? Was it New Orleans? NOLA? Yeah, I mean, Chelsea's one of these players who's like really. She seems to have a good mind for the game. She has good instincts, but then she just like. She's not always able to figure out the correct path to take. Like now she's like with MJ and Leah, but she hates Leah. Like I just don't get it. And I will say, like, she spent like 10 minutes saying he's dirty and doesn't wash his crack today. Didn't she say the day before that he does wash his crack? Am I crazy? I think if Tucker had an ounce of strategy, he could be a Paul level player. He's got the natural charisma, just no good strategy. I get you, Matt, but that's like if Cory had a bit of Jags competition ability, he could be the best player of all time. It's like, sure, maybe, but that would like, like that's a huge flaw of his game. It's a huge flaw of my game. Like having like saying if he was more strategic, he'd be like a Paul level player. Like he's really bad. She said today he doesn't wash his cracks. Wow. She must have seen a lot of Cam's showers in the past day. Cedric's the player with Paul upside, learning the game and possibly getting better. Maybe Cedric could be Paul from BB18, but BB19 Paul was a whole different beast. I'm with you, Dr. Trump. Fuck him up. Jag would probably be good for no reason, too. 100% meant BB19. Oh, BB18, sorry. And I don't think Paul was very good in BB18, so... But I actually do kind of see that comparison. No, the AI arena twist, I believe, sucks. There's something interesting about it. Like, obviously, it's good for the live show. Also, Julie is ridiculous. Thank you, Elise. I appreciate you. By the way, to anyone who cares, the VIP eviction notice game is Sunday. Time still pending, but around the normal time, so 7 Central-ish. But yeah, Julie was being ridiculous in the and it's not Julie, like she's obviously being given those instructions by like the producers, but like what does she want to happen? Like she wants a live tribal so bad. I just really hope Kenny leaves this week. Can't deal with another alpha male steamroll. Jacksoni, it's not going to happen. Like, that's not the trajectory this game is taking. Like, Kenny does not have the ability, even if he stays around for a bit. Last year, y'all kept telling people right before when feeds were off. Yeah, you gotta understand, though, like, we're all doing jury management, too. like, who are you talking about? Who are you referring to during our season? Like, there's no reason to blindside anybody without the BBAI arena. Like, and I know that's the problem they're trying to solve, so it's effective. Blue, I mean, I wasn't there for blue, but we did blindside, like, Jag and Red in a row. And I know Jag wasn't really blindsided, but, like, I was blindsiding him, theoretically. Thank you, Skyfunk, for the sub. Appreciate you. Cory, I'm at a party and I'm trying to talk to a girl. How did you pull America? I spent, like, 80 days with her, or, like, 100 days with her. And, like, slowly got closer and closer. That's my advice. Did I see this? Let's see what this is. Let's see it, Brenna.
Me in for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure.
Godspeed.
Godspeed.
Did she just forget her line? Did she forget it? "90 days on BB with her." Well, I had 79 in the house, and then like, yeah, like about 14, 6. Yeah, I had like, you're probably pretty close. She was evicted day 86, so I had like 95 days, 94 days. She might still be talking to her and her mic is cut, to be clear. That's a possibility. What up, established? How are you? I will say, Cedric winning HoH is very exciting. I think it's a good HoH outcome. It just didn't do anything. But, you know, of all the outcomes, I think it was one of the better ones. So I know I do my power rankings and stuff, but just so we're like all on the same page, here's how I would rank the cast, like in the tiers, okay? Kenny's obviously terrible. Angela's terrible. Lisa's terrible. Tucker's here. Mackenzie's here. Matt's terrible. Leah's here. Cam's here. Then like Joseph's B, Cedric's B. I think like this, and like this is how I would do it probably. I think this is about right. And it's not ordered within tiers. Rabina A tier? I mean, actually you could put a B tier. Like, I think this is how I would have it right now. Like, I think these players are all terrible. These players are all really bad. I mean, okay, here's my actual perspective. No, because he has redeeming qualities. I think this would be it. I think this feels right to me. And this is like no hate towards Leah. Like, I think Leah seems like a wonderful person, and I think people are being ridiculously unfair to Leah. Basically just like slut shaming for no reason. I saw Chelsea say some shit today that I really didn't like about Leah. Like calling her like second rate or something. What was someone get the quote? I don't want to just say, I don't know exactly what it was, but I didn't like the way Chelsea was talking about it. But like Leah has shown me nothing. Like, it's crazy. Cam is terrible too, but I think Cam, like, socially is less aggravating to people. MJ is, like, I think Brooklyn I've fallen a lot on. I still think Brooklyn could rise to A. Joseph could show something that we haven't seen. But y'all, like, Joseph is not in this tier. I know people are saying Joseph should be here, but, like, Joseph so far has been not very involved, but he has not been willing to say he's a pawn, which could not be the case for two of these people. And MJ has been really bad the entire time. Like, like this tier is not like you're a great player. It's like, oh, you seem average, replacement level. Brooklyn should be higher. I think it's maybe she's the one who's on the bubble. Why have you fallen on Brooklyn? She's just a little bit behind on the times, but if you want to put her here, that's fine. Like, I have no problem with that. I still like Brooklyn's odds. I think this is actually more right to me. Rabina didn't talk to Cedric. That's really bad. But maybe because she knew there was 3. I mean, look, you could do this too. I think this is fair. If you want to do that, it's fine. Now let's do entertainment, okay? My entertainment tier list, okay? Angela, I'm going to say A. I don't think she's S because I think it's getting a bit annoying how negatively she's impacting the game. Like, she's really breaking the game a little bit. Like, I kind of want her to go home. I think Quinn is probably A2. He's doing a lot. I think Joseph's actually a funny guy. I know you guys probably don't feel like he's giving you anything, but I enjoy him on the feeds. He doesn't do very much, but I think he's actually one of the more fun people to listen to in conversation. Kenny's D. Lisa, I think, was probably around B. She was okay. I'm sorry. Lisa conversations killed me too, though. Whenever Lisa would walk into her room. Like, Quinn A is generous. He's at least doing a lot, where I feel like no one else is. Matt, I think, was terrible on the feeds. Like people talk about him being like a good character too. He was just like, he seems like a fine dude. I don't have a problem with Matt. It's just like he would suck the strategy out of any room he walked into. Chelsea, I think, is A. I think she's been pretty fun. I think Cedric's been my favorite person to watch on the feeds, honestly. I really enjoy Cedric. I like Rabina. Love T-Core. Cam has been just nothing. Leah's here too. I think Tucker's probably here. Chemo's probably here. MJ is like here, and Brooklyn's like here. Like here, maybe. Look, I think Cedric is just fun to watch on the feeds. I think he's got a lot of energy. But young Cedric pissed me off, I'll be honest. Young Cedric pissed me off. Like, look, I think all of these people have contributed to the season very positively. I think this is good. The problem with the season, I want to be very clear, is this. Like, these three people have just ate up nominations. Same with Tucker, same with Cam. Like it's just killed the drama having these people in the house. And, like, I think individually a lot of them are fun, right? I hate Kimura. How do you hate Chemo and T-Core? Like, that's a crazy take. Why you dislike young Cedric? I hate group activities. I'm very lame and boring. I hate group activities in the house. I hated them in the house more than anybody. Me and Sori probably hated it the most. Chemo has come out of his shell so much since week 1. Love him. Yeah, I enjoy him a lot in the feeds. Oh my god. What's this tweet you just sent me? Joseph tells Cedric and Cam that MJ and Rabina need to go, so the other girls won't have anywhere else to go, and they would have to work with them. Like, how's Joseph gonna make that happen? You know what I mean? What's Joseph's plan? They're a little dull. Tastin, I think the cast has potential to be entertaining, but the game is really dull right now. That's the way I feel. And, like, T-Core is an interesting one, because I find T-Core super likable, but I don't think she's gonna be great. I don't think she's, like, great feeds. You know what I mean? Unless you're kind of, like, viewing her as, like, a self-insert, because she's, like, kind of relatable to, I think, a lot of us. Of, like, she seems more low-key, more of a normal person. But, like, you know she's not gonna blow up on anybody, or, like, get in a fight, or... She's not, like, a massive personality, which I think is why people like her. And I like T-Core a lot. I think the chemo is the same. Like, that's kind of my fear. She has good reads. Yeah. No, but I did not say anything about that at all. I like watching her work. She's very smart. Yeah. I mean, look, if you're like a big game bot, you could like T-Core a lot, you know? Joseph's playing pretty poorly. He's not doing himself any favors yet. But he's like, he's doing nothing. I miss Izzy on the feeds. even without Izzy, like, we were pretty cracked. Because, like, Jared was cracked. You know what I mean? I feel like I was pretty cracked. America was kind of cracked. Cameron was kind of cracked. And it wasn't always the right kind of cracked. But there's a lot of cracked out energy. Felicia goes without saying. You know what I mean? I think Izzy was the peak. You guys all talk game most of the time. It's like, isn't that why you want to go in the house? Is that what you want to do? I love doing that, but I guess like America is like also a big gamer, but she didn't she didn't talk game like that as much. I will say though, now that I'm doing like live feed updates, I low key love boring feeds when I can just like walk away from the computer for like an hour. It's so nice. That's what I've realized about Terran. It's like he wants good feeds, but deep down, I think he wants bad feeds sometimes. How do you think you would do this season? I think I'd do fine. I think the BB26 house was, or BB25 house put me in a really weird, awkward spot. But I think with equitable competitions, I'd have a much better chance. Like, I don't think it. I'm never going to be the kind of player to dominate a house. Like, if you put Suri in this house, I think Suri would win guaranteed. I believe that. If you put Paul in this house, Paul would be able to BB19 it. But that's not my play style, so I would still probably. I'd do fine. I don't know. Y'all are underestimating Leah. Lunar, like, I don't mean to, like, put you on the spot, but can you explain why you, like, how you came to that conclusion? Like, what has Leah shown you that we've been missing? I still like Leah a lot. I think she seems one of the more, like, I'd be friends with Leah, I think, before a lot of people on this cast. Give me a minute, I need my little paragraph. Alright, go for it, Lunar. I want Leah to be a gamer so bad, but she's just not. Nah, not quite. Leah's flopping. Don't say that. I mean, like, America the first week was, like, non-existent. You know what I mean? Like, she'll have some time to put some stuff together. Leah forgot about the game for like 2 days. I mean, here's the problem, right? Like, there's not that much game to be had. Because, like, no one's able to test their relationships or alliances because there's so many people willing to be on the block. So, like, Leah and MJ feel better about their girls thing than they should, but they have no reason not to because there hasn't been any evidence of anything because everyone's just putting up Angela and Kenny every week. Like, that's the thing. Like, I responded to a comment today where I was. I'll show my tweet. Let me pull it up. So I said, MJ telling every HOH about the power is obviously the right move, but I can't help but feel like she's done nothing since Matt has left to reintegrate into the house. Like, she's on the bottom, but she's also complacent because she's not in danger. And then Jesse, I think, fairly said, to be fair, no one in this house is playing actively in any way except for the people who are begging to be nominated every week. I said, I agree, but most people are passively in a good spot. MJ would passively be a target with that each week without power. So, like, I think everyone's passive, but some people have more of a right to be passive than others. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine to be passive. Like, Mimi being passive wasn't a problem until, you know, week 3, week 4. When you're in a good spot, it's okay to chill, especially when everyone's being passive around you. The difficulty is if you're in a bad spot, you need to be active, or if you're in a good spot and everyone else is active, you got to be active to keep up, to maintain your position. MJ's in that category of she's in a bad spot, so she has to actively play while everyone else gets to be passive. And that's how you start climbing up the tiers, the hierarchy. MJ's only safe because of her power. I keep rating her higher than I want to because I keep thinking the power gives her more time to figure things out. She could reintegrate, figure out her game. But every week, I say the same thing and nothing happens. I think my main problem with MJ is she just, like, is not making an effort, seemingly, to connect with any of, like, the visionaries. Like, it feels like she has nothing with Quinn, nothing with Chemo, nothing with T-Core. Her and Rabina, maybe a little bit, but even then, like, Rabina actively says she doesn't really fuck with MJ and Leah like that. I disagree. Go on. T-Core is trying to bring Brooklyn into the T-Core alliance. I don't know what that has to do with MJ try with T-Core. T-Core is kind of tough though. Like, okay, T-Core, I think her biggest flaw is when she's not interested, she can't feign interest. You know what I mean? And T-Core just doesn't like her. Yeah, and I think that's a reasonable opinion to have based on, like, where T-Core is in the house. But I do get what you're saying. They never let T-Core talk. I think in the Big Brother house, they cast a lot of big personalities, so being a good listener is a really invaluable trait. But you also have to, like, here's the good thing. When you have someone who talks so much and, like, dominates the conversation, they're usually pretty unaware of how the other person is receiving that information. So T-Core might get away with it with MJ, but, like, I would love T-Core to be able to fake it a little bit more. Leah said, day one, men are easy to manipulate, and that's her strategy. I do wish she did more formed core lines at the house, but I'm going to let her cook. The girlies in the house are clocking that she's using the men, though, so it's messy. Yeah, here's the thing. I don't feel like she's trying to play all the men like she's Allison Irwin, because she, like, shut down Quinn in a very respectful way, which is very, like, good on her. I think Quinn has been very respectful of those boundaries. But, like, Quinn, she's also low-key shit-talking Cam as well, and she was pursuing Tucker. Like, if that's her strategy, I don't think she's doing a good job of implementing it. Because if she was trying to implement that strategy, she'd be, like, you know, flirting with all the guys and trying to pull each of them in and doing something. You know what I mean? And also, like, obviously that type of strategy never is going to go over well with the girls of the house. Like, Chelsea's been, like, really against it, which I don't love the way Chelsea's talked about it, but she's most loyal to Quinn game-wise. It does seem that way, but I have to ask why. I don't feel like her and Quinn like talk enough for that to make sense. I think she should be most loyal to Cam. I think that's a good spot for her. I think Cam would go before her. With AI Arena, it's a little bit dangerous, but as long as if she's perceived as a pair with Cam, that's still good. Just stop pitching him to go up as a pawn. They go days that talking, it's odd. It is odd. But I get it. Like, I was loyal to Mimi despite us not talking as much. But even then, like, I'm sure you guys caught, like, I would force a lot of conversations with Mimi. And it doesn't feel like Leah's doing that with Quinn or Quinn's doing that with Leah. But I would try a lot with Mimi, like, to make sure we constantly checked in. And most of the time it was, like, personal conversations, but I would try to get strategy in as ever I could. You're the MJ and Mimi's T-Core. I think that's an overstatement. Like, I get what you're saying, Thorfist, that MJ's trying with T-Core, and I think that's admirable, but, like, you know, maybe you're arguing it's less of a lack of effort and it's more of a lack of ability, which I think we could meet somewhere in the middle. But I feel like a lot of what I've seen with MJ is, like, her just hanging out with the people who are receptive towards her and not trying to make strides in, adding new people to that list. Or when she does, it's very like half-hearted. Quinn says he wants to work with women. Did a lot for Lee, I think. Quinn's saying he wants to work with women. Yeah, but she's a woman, so it should be a good sign. MJ's just making friends. I think a lot of MJ's like passivity is due to the power. Because she's safe. Like, she doesn't have her back against the wall. She's in like the position of someone on the bottom, but she's invulnerable. Just a slow game at the minute until Kenny and Angela are gone. Like, okay, optimistically, I would love to say the reason people are talking like that, or like the reason why people are actually targeting Kenny and Angela, is because they learned from last year you can't keep around Felicia. You know what I mean? You can't even keep around Bowie Jane to a certain extent. Like, these people do have to go at some point. Otherwise, they're going to be dragged to the end instead of you. But I think these players are just a little bit more, like, scared to rock the boat, which I understand. I think I would do the same thing. Or some of them are pretty emotional. And it seems like their decisions are being led by emotion, including Kenny, including Angela. MJ got blindsided week 1. It's tough to get out of that spot. I get it, but she does have 3 weeks of buffer. Like, I think it's tough to recover when like you're at risk the whole time, but I feel like she has a lot of time, and week 1 is probably the easiest place to recover from. Especially in this house when there's no defined power structure. Like, if it was like BB16, I don't blame her one bit. But this season, I feel like there's a lot of room to navigate. Would backdooring Angela be a good idea this week thus far? Well, she's already on the block, so you can't backdoor her. But I think Angela going home is really good for, like, Quinn. You know, I think it's good for... I think it could be good for, like, the chemo and those people. I think that's a good thing. Because theoretically, Cedric should be more on the other side, even though he's kind of in the middle. If Tucker's on the block Thursday, do they talk more this week about maybe voting him out? Ultimately, I don't think so, hey bub. I really don't. I know people have floated the idea. I think what's more likely to happen is if he wins AI Arena again, I think people are really going to start looking at him. Or say he wins the veto. You know what I mean? If he wins the veto or AI Arena, people are going to be like, what the fuck are we doing? Letting Tucker be a pawn every week. You guys want to see my Tucker tweet? Sent this one out too. Because he is so great physically and socially, everyone loves him, but he's so bad strategically. Like, dreadful. That it's just such a waste. Also, can someone explain this to me? Let me see who replied. So, like, why does everyone convince that it's a 9-person jury? Does anyone have any actual information, or are people just full of shit? Like, we have no information, right? But everyone's saying, like, no, it was just a 7-person jury because it was the anniversary. Like, it's so odd to me. Like, I believe it's going to be a 7-person jury because it's cheaper. There's no reason for it not to be. Like, I think people saying, like, having 8 people be, or I guess for our season it would be 8, but like most seasons, having 7 people pre-jury is too much. And I'm like, why? Like, I don't think jury is like something that people should just earn, or like people like should be gifted. I'm a fan of the 7-person jury. I think 7-person jury should be the norm. My only thought is, like, it shouldn't start that late. How late it started on BB25 is stupid. I just hate 9-person juries because, like, you have someone voted out on, like, day 45 of a 100-day game casting a vote, and that vote counts the same as the person who got 3rd place. Like, what's an egregious example of it? Like, a 9-person jury. Like, Cody Nixon had to make the decision to vote for Paul or Josh. What the fuck was Cody supposed to base that decision on? Brittany's a great example. How the fuck is Brittany D'Angelo supposed to make a decision on who played the better game? It's just giving more power to, like, the jury groupthink, as opposed to people being able to make their informed decision based on the game they witnessed. I'm fine with bigger juries to ensure I see my faves on TV longer, but Sydney, like, for what, one jury segment? like it's really, I know we all like love the jury segments, but they like never happen. BB20 is the perfect example, CC. Wasn't that where like everyone who was evicted early voted for Casey? Like Casey's votes were like Fessy, Rockstar. Who else is on that list? Scotty. No, Scotty voted for Tyler. Meanwhile, like JC voted for Tyler, Sam voted for Tyler, Bailey, of course. Yeah, like Bailey, come on. Scotty voted Casey. That's crazy. Scotty voting Casey is probably the most ridiculous decision. Sam voted Casey. That one's weird too. How the fuck did Tyler lose that season? How did he lose that season? And Tyler got JC, Angela, Brett, Haley. That was his four? His cringy ass 2 steps ahead speech, that won him a jury vote, Dr. Shrimp. That won him Haley. I think he just didn't explain his game well enough. I think he explained his game really well. Like, again, he almost flipped the vote towards him. I think his problem was his game wasn't visible enough, and it's impossible in that final 2 setting to explain your game enough. Like, in the old school Big Brother, you could. Not in this new school questioning format. 2 steps ahead double eviction speech went hard. No, it didn't. That shit was so lame. The Brett thing. It was lame because we were all rooting for Brett. I thought it was more a bitter jury. It wasn't a bitter jury. It was they thought Casey was the better player, and then there was some people who were bitter, right? That was my understanding. Like, they just didn't see Tyler as a good player. They thought he was like a surfer bro. They had a jury pact? Really? Casey won more comps? Yeah. Didn't Tyler win a shit ton of comps too? Like, what was the numbers? Like, Casey won more, but wasn't it pretty close? Casey, because she won the final HoH. It's funny. Like, it wasn't like Casey was a comp beast and Tyler was getting, like, carried there. They were one-off comp wins-wise. It's ridiculous. Having been in jury, I could totally understand how jury pacts form, especially with, like, a season like BB20, where, like, everyone from Faute came to jury together, basically, like, in a row. On BB25, it was never possible. Like, because no one was going to listen to Cam. Blue was in her own world, the way she thought about the game. Me and America, obviously, you know. Like, me and America would have voted differently, depending on who was in the final, too. Like, he made too many final 2s. He had, like, 5 final 2s. I'll be honest, DBZ, I find it very difficult to criticize Tyler's game in BB20. I think his biggest mistake by far was just not trying to get Angela to the final 2 with him. Outside of that, I think he played like a top 5 game in Big Brother history. He picked the wrong final 2, is my thought. He didn't win anything after final 6, but like that's what makes it so impressive, you know? All his final twos voted for him except Sam. Didn't he have a final two with Tyler? Or with Scotty? I'm pretty sure. I thought Angela was going to beat him? No way. I don't think people respected Angela like that. I think JC wins easily Ren Davis. I think JC definitely beats him. But I think he beats Angela for sure. He beats Angela, and I'm sure he beats Sam. Like, that should have been his priorities. But, like, Sam didn't go home at his HOH, you know? I think JC beats Casey. I do. And I did watch my season back AAV. I did. If he threw the Final Four veto, it's a major knock against him. I believe he did throw it, right? So he didn't have to make the decision. JC would not win against Casey. I'm not sure. I mean, I think he would have beat Tyler, though. No have-nots this week. Probably an endurance comp. I mean, Nino, they never cared about that before. With endurance comps. Like, on our season, they didn't give a shit. JC would lose to Tyler. Tyler lost to Casey, so how could Casey lose to JC? AAV, I think you're... First of all, it's not always... The transitive property doesn't apply to Big Brother Final Threes. Like, it's a different dynamic, right? But also, I don't think we have any evidence that JC would have lost to Tyler. Did JC play a good game, or was he just well-liked? He played a good game. He was weird, and he did a lot of stupid shit that I think we all rightfully think JC's a moron for. But JC was a good player. I think he was easily the second best player that season. And Casey was number 3. According to Haley, JC wasn't respected as much. Okay. Fair enough. Joseph's a dark horse this season. I mean, like, I would love to say I agree, but we'll see. I've not liked what I've seen from Joseph recently. Would JC perform well during final 2 speeches and questions? I think he'd be good, yeah. I think he'd be very impassioned. And I think that matters a lot more in your final 2 speech than your substance. What are your should-be winners throughout BB history? Dan in 14, Tyler in 20. I made a presentation about this. This is on my Patreon, who I would have voted for in every final 2. But I don't know. I think I said Lane should have beaten Hayden too. Dan should beat Ian. Lane should beat Hayden. Paul should beat Josh. And Tyler should beat Casey, I think was my full list. Is there anyone else you guys think I'm forgetting? Hayden's underrated. Sure, I think Lane is too. How does Quinn know Zach? Or was it just him knowing? Just him knowing what? Big D should have beaten Xavier. Are you in America doing a BB26 podcast for the Patreon? We just talk about it so much. I'm trying to figure out what we could add differently. I will say there's a lot of stuff coming to the Patreon involving guests, at least for my stuff. Kind of as like a BB25 1-year anniversary thing. I'm doing some stuff with guests. That'll be fun. Him knowing, yeah, I think that was more so like an inside joke to the super fans. AAV. I think Tyler set himself up so well, and he was in such a dominating position. Like he was more so maintaining his position than actively bettering it because he didn't need to actively better it. Like he was locked into the final two from like the final 8. So I don't blame him that much. Like who will be the guests? BB25 people. I think you guys could probably figure out who, but I don't want to say any names before I have them confirmed. But I think you guys could figure this out. America on the slot Monday is going to be good. Absolutely. Is your forehead green sometimes? No, but I'm actually pretty happy with how the green screen looks right now. I've been tinkering with it. I feel like Tyler and Vanessa would make for an interesting duo. I think it'd be a disaster. I think Vanessa can't be in a duo with a good player. And maybe you could say Steve, but she was losing her shit on Steve, and Steve is a much more reliable passive player than Tyler. Vanessa would turn on her final two so quickly. You know, if she really thought they were doing as much as Tyler was doing. But no, America and I have been talking about revamping the Patreon in a lot of ways, because let me look at the Patreon right now. So the Patreon is doing very well in terms of like people signing up. We're at 786 paid members, which is a lot. But it feels like, I don't know, maybe this is just me going crazy, but it feels like we're getting less and less people like engaged on it. So we're figuring out how we could like, you know, make it a little bit more worth it for everybody. So we're cooking some stuff up. We're actively trying to fix it. You should do it's fun for you, but it's not just about that. You know what I mean? It's not about like just it's not like me and America's fun hobby. Like we're people are paying for this, so we want to make sure we're providing good stuff. Quinn just said this week he's okay with Kenny going out instead of Angela. Quinn has this delusion that he still thinks he could work with Angela, and I love it. I see a lot of myself in him. People are not watching as much. A little bit, like less likes and comments on each post. Which is not like it's not how Patreon works. It's not super important, but I want to make sure that like people are checking the Patreon and watching it. And again, like it's not like a homework assignment. You guys need to do this, but I think it's a sign of like if people stop watching things, I assume they'll stop paying for it because they should. Like, why are you paying for something you're not consuming? Less BB stuff, maybe. Yeah, that's an idea. I mean, we were talking about me and America just doing like some separate stuff. Yeah, no, I've been reading through the comments. I think there's some good stuff here. Oh, damn, people are arguing in the replies. Holy. I think there's also a more like beneficial way of also treating the Patreon as a bit of like a feed as opposed to necessarily like just a place to dump videos. Like posting like pictures and stuff, you know what I mean? Alongside everything else. I think there's something useful to do there. And like some behind the scenes stuff and like updates and what we're doing. And also, like, I do think the other, like, big thing that I'm realizing is, like, ultimately, it's not the America Patreon, it's not the Cory Patreon, it's the AmeriCory Patreon, and people like us as a couple. Like, I think people appreciate both of us as individuals, too, but at the end of the day, like, a lot of our popularity is, you know, as a duo. But I like America's Book Club. You know, I think that's a really cool thing. And I will say, I know the next book she's picking for it, and I think you guys are gonna fucking love it. Love it, love it. I'm gonna ask America if I can leak it. Can I leak the next book for book club?
The next what?
Book for book club?
Sure.
Okay.
Exclusive.
Yeah. Stream exclusive. This book is literally written for book club. I'm telling you. Okay. It is called The Villain Edit. I asked America, she said I'm fine leaking it. She's hanging out with Molly right now, so I'm gonna do this. Get out of here. Emily Henry meets Fleabag and The Bachelor. Okay. Dramatically cynical romance novelist who goes on a Bachelor-like reality show to revive her flagging career, only to discover that while she may have just met the love of her life, the producers have turned her into the show's villain. She's a big career, it's gone bust. She's ditched the big lights for New York City, or of New York City, to go to South Carolina. She dreams up a comeback plan. She's going to be a contestant on The Bachelor. She established herself as a frontrunner for Marcus's heart, but she's shocked to discover who's actually pulling the strings. How was she to know that Henry Foster, her last one-night stand, was actually a longtime producer on the show? Henry is just as horrified, but can't seem to keep their hands off each other. As she plays the game the show unfurls, she slowly discovers that she's getting the villain edit. They say there's no such thing as bad publicity, but as her secret plan begins crumbling around her, she's not so sure. How ridiculous is this book? It's just the back of the book. If you guys don't like reading the back of the book, I get that. But, like, how amazing is that? Like, it feels like it was written for America's Book Club. You know what I mean? And it was just released, yeah. I already asked America if I could leak it. Don't worry. I wouldn't do this without her. Will you read it with us too? Probably not, but I will watch book club. And the other idea I had for the Patreon, let me know what you think. I want to watch the Big Brother zombie show. I remember watching like the premiere or like the pilot a long time ago, and then never going through it. What's it called? The Big Brother UK zombie show, and doing like a watching with you guys on the Patreon. Dead Set, yeah. I'm thinking Dead Set, and then the other show I'm thinking is The Genius. Watching The Genius with America, because I feel like that will be the way to get America engaged in the show. And I know that's going to be a very fun show to watch with you guys. The problem is we've already watched the first 4 episodes, so we need to give like a little bit of a homework assignment for people to catch up. But I think those would be really good. Will you be able to react while reading subtitles? Definitely, yeah. That's not a problem. Like, reacting is, we don't ham it up a lot. America and I are very dramatic by ourselves. We did finish Kid Nation, Tom. Thoughts on watching a live eviction and posting to Patreon? Yeah, we talked about that too. I think that's a pretty good idea. I think it's a pretty good idea. The thing is, You know what we might do? We might do Patreon watch parties. I think that's probably the best way of doing it. Just live stream on Patreon. I think would be the better way of doing it. Because I don't think many people would like watch the live episode and then go rewatch it again with us. You know what I mean? Also, y'all can't pause. Hee hee. Yeah. That is true. Have you ever watched Unreal? I have. I enjoyed it. We've been saved. You guys like the pauses. I don't want to hear it. I know you guys like the pauses. Also, did anybody wish Riley a happy birthday? We were at Dollywood and my mom sent me a picture of her and my dad with Riley. I think I'm gonna stream most Big Brother episodes. Maybe the Thursdays we'll do on Patreon, but like the Sunday and the Wednesday, I think as long as I'm like streaming that day, I'll just watch them live with you guys. For real, for real. Well, we bought our Regal Pass today, Shinsuke, so it's gonna happen. For real, will always exist. We just gotta be more like active at seeing movies. When is Phoenix's birthday? I read it before, but I didn't figure out. I couldn't remember who Phoenix was. We were already doing the VIP on Sunday. It's okay. Like again, it's fine. When we don't have something else going on, if I'm not busy, we'll watch the episode. A lot of great ideas for the Patreon. I mean, I've been brainstorming very actively. You can cancel the VIP game. I like the VIP game as an idea. You know what I mean? I think it's cute. I think it's a good thing for the community. I kind of like how like the viewership shrinks and it's just the people who are really into it. I think it's like a nice cornerstone of like what the chat is. And to anyone who doesn't like it, I get that too, but like the people who love it, you know? Cancel the VIP game when I win. We could always do it like after the episode too. Maybe that's how we do it. The VIP game starts at 8. I start streaming at 7. What's the VIP game? It's a game of Big Brother that people play on Roblox for the community, and the winner becomes a VIP in the chat. But basically, my ideas for the Patreon is like add more like watch party stuff and more like content-y, like more watch party stuff that we could all like follow along with as a group, and then have some more guests on. Because like personally, when I see like an interview or something between two people and I want to listen to it, like that gets me to sign up for a Patreon more effectively than other things. TV show watch along series on Patreon. The problem is, Nino, is like it's kind of hard to catch up to those things. Like if you miss it as it starts, like you have to. It's kind of hard. Lisa interview coming. I will say, I think Matt, if we DM'd him, would do it, but you know, I'm shy. America's Chiller segment idea when? You guys understand there's no idea when it comes to the Chiller segment. It's just like alcohol. There's no idea. Like, it's like, oh, like, this is a great idea. It's like, no, there's nothing. Maybe. Alright, I'm gonna get off, because literally, like, I'm streaming in the bedroom, and Molly needs to go to bed. She's in the other room, and it's 10:30, way past her bedtime. When's the Beerio stream? We can't do Beerio Kart, because America doesn't chug. A podcast episode with your mom would be really fun. I agree. That would be fun. Are we rating Puya or Brando? It's a good question. Let's see what they're doing. Who's more deserving of the raid? Brando's doing Pokemon. Puya's doing interviews. Let's do Brando. We raid Puya all the time. All right, everyone. Tell Brando I say hi. I'm streaming with Brando and Dwight pretty soon. We were actually supposed to stream Thursday, but I had to cancel because Dollywood. So look forward to that. It'll be fun. All right. See y'all.